We are all looking for handcuffed lottery ticket running back prospects in the later rounds of our drafts to collect dust on our bench to one day, later on down the road in the season, to hopefully get the starting job due to attrition and become that league-winning asset. We're looking at another one today, and today we're looking at Tahj Brooks, rookie running back of the Cincinnati Bengals, a cheaper running back prospect that might even be on your waiver wire that you at least need to know about. And you may need, you may not, because there's so many of these cheap running backs this year due to a deep, talented running back class, which that is something you need to be aware of for your waiver wire runs this season. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're doing these deep dives every day to see whether or not you need these players. On top of that, battle videos. On top of that, waiver wire videos every day throughout the year. Every single day. Going deeper by the day throughout the week as we gear up to set those lineups. As we gear up to help you set those lineups by looking at the matchups. Click that button. Stop missing out. The man's watching Ric Flair. Do not disappoint Ric Flair. We are looking at Tahj Brooks today. And this is a running back prospect that a lot of you guys want in your drafts that you're having trouble getting because there's so many lottery ticket running backs. And you have to have the idea in your mind that the waiver wire is also your bench, and you just have to be having that approach where you're watching all these prospects from afar. You're watching the snaps, targets, routes ran, changes in the offense, and trying to be a week early. And if you're not trying to be a week early, you're not going to be able to snatch Tahj Brooks early because you're going to have to spend all your fab to get him while you're watching the storylines that unfold on these teams every single week. And sometimes we're going to be a week early. Something else happens, and this happens, and that's just the name of the game. That's why it's football. That's why we love the game. Tahj Brooks is a running back that you need to pay attention to. And there's a lot of lottery ticket dart throw running backs, a lot of RB2s and 3s out there that you want to pick up. And to that notion, and what I want to say to you is just pick your poison and just be fluid throughout the year. This was a 3-star running back coming out of high school, 22 offers. He had a lot of colleges approach him. He went to Texas Tech. You look at the numbers here, or you see the 4.8 40-yard dash. Remember, high schoolers are not trained for the 40. Most of them are not. And right now, they don't really run the 40 as much. They just do 100-meter times when they run track. That's how you get the numbers on their speed. Good size back then, 212, 205. Gained size pretty good throughout his career. We go to Texas Tech, 2020, COVID season. We got an extra year there. You can call him a super senior if you want, but we're very productive. Also getting work in the passing game. Those last 3 seasons, 2022 to 2024, 26 catches, 29, 28, 1,500 yards, 27 touchdowns those last 2 years, 3.04 yards after contact per attempt last year, 3.42 the year prior. That year prior, 2023, 95 missed tackles forced. In the Big 12, Bijan was just a little bit more when he was in the Big 12 making guys miss. 95, you want to call that out. 41 carries of 10-plus yards last year, 38 the year prior. This guy can do stuff in space. That's what that's saying. That's what we're seeing here from him. We fall to the 6th round, 4.52 40-yard dash, speed score above average, 74th percentile. That's what that says. Good agility score, 55th percentile burst score. All the numbers check out. He's checking a lot of boxes here when you're looking at the metrics. 6th round pick. They don't have much invested in him, but for this team, with how much they got invested at wide receiver and quarterback, they do not have the resources to keep taking shots at running back. That's something you want to think about for the long term. Sunk costs and everything else. They do want to see what they got in Brooks because they do not have the resources to keep taking shots at running back when this is a money ball position. On top of that, you look at this depth chart. Chase Brown was once a late rounder and had to work his way up. You got Samaje Perine there. That's going to be a thorn in our side. So there are some roadblocks here. Chase Brown's the starter. Obviously, we're looking at him. Obviously, he's going to get to work. But we're waiting for attrition to unfold. We're waiting for the season to start. Because half these backfields in the National Football League, one time or another, or maybe a good portion of the season, will be jacked up. And you're going to need to know these third strings, second strings, these RBCs, RBBs, RB2s, RB3s in these backfields. And Tahj Brooks has some gusto to his game. And you're looking at Chase Brown. He's the man. He's the man. He's projected to be a top running back this year. Everybody's drafting him as so. It is what it is. 16.1 points per game used in the passing game. This team's going to be in a lot of shootouts. That being said, since they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, you need to watch this running back depth chart. 16.1 points per game, multiple RB1 weeks, especially after week 4, cashing out. After week 4, we only had one game of under 10 PPR fantasy points. He's a stud. He's a stud in fantasy football. We called this out early when he was a 5th-round pick, almost 6th-round pick. Years ago, he got his moment then and popped off. If you don't remember, everybody flocked to him off the waiver wire. And if you had him as a stash, if you could hold him, whatever your situation contextually, you probably could have used him for that game where he did go off and everybody was chasing Chase Brown for free versus having to pay half your fat. Samaje Perine. He is going to be a thorn in the side here. And some people are commenting right now, comment section, Samaje Perine, Samaje Perine. And Samaje Perine's a good running back for the NFL. He's a big physical running back. At Oklahoma, he went off in a game. Went off. That's a long time ago. 4th-round draft pick. Long time ago. Almost 30 years old. But he's a running back that's good at all phases. Catches the ball in the backfield. Pass protection. Getting carries up the gut. He will have some 1B touches. He will probably have some games where you're like, man, should I pick him up in fantasy even? Like off the waiver wire. I would not be surprised if some of you guys are picking him up off the waiver wire for some of these matchups once some of these running backs get decimated, because he's going to be out there getting some work. Not enough work for you like, yeah, I got to get him. Not enough work for that, but enough work you're like, maybe I can moneyball this. Maybe you can patch me up as my RB3 this week. I'm starting 3 running backs in my lineup. I need an extra running back. Something like that. Samaje Perine might be in the works for that. He does get work in the passing game. He's a steady player. He's not great for fantasy football, but he'll be great in certain moments. You're looking at this backfield. Chase Brown took over last year, 4.3 yards per carry, 64% of the rush attempts. So there's going to be a good portion where it could go to other running backs. They do want to use a second running back. All teams do. All teams do. Samaje Perine's there. But also that is the notion too. If Brown goes down and Perine comes up, Tahj Brooks comes up, you're looking at probably more than 42% of the rush attempts because Brooks has been looking good. He's a good running back prospect. They're going to use him in and out. They're probably going to have a different flow because Brooks is more explosive, especially at this time period. Brooks is going to give them something that Perine's not. They're going to use him intermittently. And then you got Chase Brown here. Right now, Brown and Perine, he's not going to get much work. We definitely know that. And we're looking at this when attrition hits. If Perine comes down, that means Brooks is coming up. If you're in a deeper league, you can moneyball that. If you're looking at 40%, 35, 30% of the rushing attempts, I'm expecting Chase Brown's workload to go up a little bit if that happens, to maybe like 75-ish% of the rushing attempts. But still, when you're thinking about that, there's some opportunity here for Brooks to get some opportunity because running backs go down. That's just part of the game. That's just part of it. You're looking at the rush plays per game. 22, so it's lower than a lot of teams. They throw the ball a lot, as they should. They invest at wide receiver. They invest at quarterback. But these running backs are going to get work in the pass game. What did I say when we were covering his college stats? We looked at how he was doing in the pass game. He was racking up catches. All 3 of these running backs, Perine, Brooks, Brown, they can use it in the pass game. And they don't have to be big-time receiving threats like a Brashard Smith from the Chiefs. They don't have to be rolled out in the slot. They have the wide receivers for that. They can just let them cook in the flat, check it down when need be, let them eat up in space. Brooks could capitalize off this. Brooks could definitely do that when given the opportunity. Plus, Bengals offense, shootouts, that's what we're projecting. He's cheap, he's free. He's going undrafted in a lot of leagues, and that's fine. We already talked about that earlier, that some of these guys you're going to be watching off the waiver wire throughout the season. Tahj Brooks might be it because there's so many dart throws. Even some that aren't even listed here. Brashard Smith, Kendre Miller, you got DJ Gitt. There's just so many dart throws. I did a video on all the dart throw running backs like a week or so ago. I went over that. Go check that out. But when I'm looking at Tahj Brooks, he's really in the same situation as a lot of other running backs drafted ahead of him. And he's a running back prospect that could be getting it done for you in fantasy, and it could be somewhere down the line. You don't know, and the bet is on players getting hurt, which you can't bet on that. You don't know. But you have to know who these backs are. You have to be willing to know who they are so you know how much fab to put on him. If that happens, I'm putting a lot of fab on him. Like, a lot. Like, a good bit. Like, if Chase Brown's going to be out for weeks, like, the longer Brown is out, the more I'm putting on Brooks. If Brown is out for over half the season, I'm wasting all my fab on pretty much all these running backs that I like, too. Like, that starter's out. Like, Jonathan Taylor's out for most of the year. I'm putting a lot of fab on Giddens. Like, a large percentage. Like, my chips in when I'm looking at some of these prospects. Dameon Pierce, no. Isaac Rondo, not really. Rashard Smith, I'm watching from afar. I'm trying to get him cheap. Kendre Miller might be a surprise guy that I want to do a video on. And there's some other guys drafted ahead that I'm definitely doing that with. But that's something you need to pay attention to as part of your strategy. So you're like, oh, I don't need him. He's fallen in draft. I draft this other guy. Why do I need that's why. That's your answer. That's your answer. Think critically. Think critically. Be smarter than that. The waiver wire is also on your team. You're playing with the waiver wire. You're watching the waiver wire. You're watching the touches. You can pick them up intermittently. You can pick them up for free if you're early. Watching the touches. Watching the routes. You need to know this player. You need to be paying attention to him. But you can do that for all players. Yeah, but that's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. That's just galaxy braining. That's why you need to know Tahj Brooks. And drafters are paying more for him right now because he's been looking good in camp. They're watching this team from afar, and they're putting their money. This ADP isn't free drafting. Like, people paid to be in these leagues, and they're saying, hey, we want some Tahj Brooks because he could be hitting in this lineup. Something could happen to Chase Brown. He's a handcuff. Now you pick your lottery ticket that you want. 16 rounds. You got room for 1 if you want to be aggressive. 2. This year's a good year to be more aggressive, so 2 is very fine. 3 is very aggressive. 3 is a little bit finer compared to last year, but it could be very hard to do. Tahj Brooks could be one of them, and when you think about it, you're waiting on players to get hurt, so honestly, him versus the guys drafted ahead of him, even the ones we like a little bit more, when you think about that, it's about the same. It's about the same. So why you need him? He's a late lottery ticket. And lottery tickets need to be valued as lottery tickets. So if you're valuing him more than a lottery ticket, then you don't need him. You got Chase Brown there. But if you understand what a lottery ticket is, if you played the lotto, if you watched the lotto, if you heard of the lotto, you know what I'm talking about. So if you play him as that, he ain't going to bust on you because he's free. It's a free lottery ticket versus an expensive one. Chase Brown's going to be there. He's going to be getting to work. If he doesn't go down, he's going to be a waste of a spot. You can say the same thing of all the other lottery tickets in your draft. It is what it is, but you do need a couple of them because you're going to be fighting for a lot of these running backs off the waiver wire this year. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.